Hey yo, peace. This your man Honorable October 9. This is the art of thinking out loud, common sense analytics. And today I want to talk about um the supposed solving of the murder of Tupac Shakur. Y'all listen. I'm just gonna put it like this. So you mean to tell me we had a celebrity murder that's gone unsolved for 27 years with so many characters, you know, moved around in the mix to where at least two or three we knew were like prime characters. Orlando Anderson, Keefe D, So it's like, why are we 27 years later just coming with a situation where we talking about we solved this murder? I think it's a bunch of BS. Because you mean to tell me it took y'all 27 years to say Keefe D did it when this nigga been saying it for like 27 years? I mean, it's like, come on. I'm gonna tell you what I think is going on here. I don't believe Tupac died. I believe it was an enclosed movie set. I believe it was a death fake situation. But I believe somebody has to take the fall for it. And I think the reason it's gone so long with letting this whole thing go on forever and ever and ever is the fact that you had several people making a lot of money off this, over the years. Over the last nearly 3 decades, you've had a handful of people making a whole lot of money off of this. So it's not hard to really come to a conclusion as to why they would choose right now. And plus, when you think about, certain things, like I said, I just look at numbers jump out at me. Like when you say 27, it's like, so it took y'all 27 years. If you know anything about the number 27, it's another one of those loaded numbers where, people usually die when they're like 27 or 42, 33, 21, 19, these different ages, these different numbers. But it doesn't always mean that somebody dies on that date. It could just be kind of a memorial, I should say. I think right now is just a pivotal time to put a cap on this whole thing, because I think it's went on so long that they can't milk it anymore. It's like, for all of us who thought Tupac was dead, all that kind of went to the wayside over the years, because music kept coming out, people kept being vague. Suge Knight was vague. Some of the Outlaws were vague. Other friends, Tretch, other people vague, as if they're still keeping in touch with this man to this day. So I never accepted that he died, because if you saw the movie, if you saw any one of several documentaries, if you saw police shows, if you saw all of those, you'll notice one thing about each and every one of those situations. They were all different. And when I say they were all different, meaning they all have a different interpretation of when Pac got shot in the car. In one scenario, he tries to jump to the back to reach his weapon, which makes no sense, because who the hell put their weapon on the back seat of the car? Everybody I know across the country, whether you're from the East Coast, West, South, whatever, if we felt we were that much in danger, oh, it's on your lap. It's it's on your lap. Pistol grip pump on my lap at all times. Y'all forgot about that? The gun is on your lap. The gun ain't in the back seat, which then I think about what Dick Gregory said. Dick Gregory said the story about Quincy Jones' daughter staying at the hotel is a lie. She was in the car. So that makes more sense as to why he would jump to the back seat as if he was trying to, shelter her, you know what I'm saying, cover her from getting hit with anything. That's one thing. Something else I thought about was the fact that each time they show us this crime scene, I've yet to see blood of somebody that got shot up in the car. I know people that got shot in cars. I've helped pull somebody out of a car that got shot in their car who didn't die, but was shot up pretty bad. Their car was a mess. Blood on the ceiling, blood on the windows, blood on the steering wheel, blood on the seats, on the dash, on the floor, on the radio. In that car, it was a little bit of glass, and that was pretty much it, and a couple bullet holes. And have y'all peeped something? In both murders, Tupac and Biggie, you got these clean bullet holes in the door of a car. Now, when Big was murdered, I know I'm supposed to be talking about Pac, but both of those two go together in the same light. So I'm gonna discuss this Big situation too because it's relevant. When they show you the photos of when Big supposedly got, unalived, you see these bullet holes in the side of the car, and then you see glass, but you don't see any blood. Nipsey Hussle, no blood. XXX, Tentacion, hit with some big shit, no blood. I could keep going on and on. No blood. This is what makes me think that some of these celebrity murders of these rappers or whatnot are just Hollywood stage movie scenes, because I know people who've just gotten grazed and they have more blood than I've seen on these supposed celebrity murders, where you got somebody who been hit five. And then have you noticed in a lot of these murders, the person gets shot multiple times, at least 4 to 5 times? But no blood. Or depending upon which network you're watching, they may show you a little blood here, a little blood there, or whatever, but it's nothing consistent enough to say somebody got popped up in this car. And then what people don't think about, I know people will say, and then, okay, and this was the dumbest shit I heard when it concerning Big. When they said that the reason that there was an absence of blood, they said that his fat swallowed up the bullets. What? I am not joking. They said his fat swallowed up the bullets. I thought that was the dumbest shit I ever heard in the world, because I know big dudes that have gotten shot and they bleed just like anybody else. Like Big said, niggas bleed just like us. So why is there an absence of blood with him in that SUV? Same thing with Nipsey Hussle. A nigga walk up on you point blank range, pop you out. They put you on a gurney, covered in a white sheet, no blood on the white sheet, and they're doing walking chest compressions, walking you to an ambulance. First off, when do you ever give a gunshot victim, especially with multiple gunshots in the chest and in other places, that you have to perform CPR around? That nigga would look like a blood fountain. It would be blood skeeting everywhere if you gave somebody chest compressions after being shot. But Nipsey was covered with a white sheet, no blood. Come on, man. Tupac, 27 years later, it's Keefy D, and then they're gonna go lay out. And hold up, before I even go into that, let me say this. When I saw the police talking, the quote unquote press conference, which I thought was, man, that press conference is just as fake as the ones they have at the White House with the backdrop where you hear planes flying over, even though the White House is a no-fly zone. That's because they're probably shooting that at like Tyler Perry's studio, because he has one of the most exact replicas of the White House in the country. Look it up. Tyler Perry's White House is like 90-something% as far as like authentic look, when it comes to like detail with certain things. Tyler Perry has a very convincing White House set. So when I think about these rappers and them getting killed, I believe these are closed movie sets, because Tupac got killed in Vegas. In Vegas on a busy night of a Tyson fight, amongst other things going on. It should be a lot of people on the street. It should be tens, hundreds of people on the street. We have yet to see witnesses come forward that said, oh, we was on the street when it happened. And I'm not talking about the little handful of folks here and there that you say, oh yeah, we saw this. So no, man, it should be a bunch of people. This is Vegas. And don't say, oh, well, this is Vegas in the 90s. This is Vegas. Have you seen pictures of Vegas in the 80s and the 90s? Same thing. This is why I say, man, people's common sense cut off when they start looking at like somebody whom they admire, somebody they like, a celebrity whom they support, whom they're a fan of. For me, and don't get me wrong, I love Tupac's music. I love his acting abilities. I like the way he did certain interviews. But if we just really want to keep it all the way real, what the hell kind of example was Pop? I need y'all to think about that. For real. Think about it. Tupac represents to me, after long consideration and looking back over things, he's the guy that shapeshifted into a role to be around certain people, to fit in. Because when you look at early video of him, early recordings, interviews, Pac seemed a little feminine. I know a lot of ladies gonna be mad. Some of the fellas gonna trip. I don't give a damn. This is just brutal honesty. This is just my opinion. It don't mean I like the man no less. I just think that when he was younger, he exhibited feminine traits. He was always doing stuff like this and and leaning and doing his head in different little ways and things. I think that this man was so much of a good actor that he was able to put on a full-time routine, so to speak, when it comes to this whole gangster thing and just this whole persona that he kept, evolving, or I like to say switching lanes in, because he came out pro-black, and then it's like you got into the little situations and then went to jail, he got out, and you're a gang member now. All the black shit out the window. Now it's just riding, banging, you know what I'm saying? Street activities. Like, this sounds like, to me, it sounds like, I hate to say it, but Tupac is starting to sound more like an industry plant. A damn good one, but he's starting to sound more like an industry plant. And when you go to start researching his life and all of these people he's supposed to be related to and all of the things they're supposed to have done, I've yet to find an attorney, a lawyer yet that will tell me that during their years of studying law and everything, have they found any record of Afeni Shakur beating all those federal charges? By herself, no lawyer, almost 170 federal charges. Come on now. The trial went on for 8 months. They watched movies and talked amongst each other. There isn't even much record of the trial. How do you beat? First off, it's not very often that people beat the feds, but how do you beat that many federal charges by yourself? You've studied no law. You don't deal in this area, but you just decide, oh, I'm gonna defend myself against all these federal charges and walk out. You know what? Shout out to Industry Hoax channel, because their expose on Pac, on Big, on Nipsey, on a lot of other rappers, it's very eye-opening. Puts a lot of things on your mind. Really makes you think hard about this whole, what would you do for fame? Would you fake your death so that you could be part of a club? Would you fake your death for money, power, prestige, notoriety? Would you sacrifice somebody close to you? And when I say sacrifice somebody close to you, I mean, would that even become a thought in your mind in being in this industry? This is why when I did my last live stream, I said, I think one of the beginning courses of selling your soul in this whole thing is wanting to be contracted by one of these bigger entities, wanting a record contract, an entertainment contract to sign this NFL, NBA deal, whatever. The fact that we pursue these things and they take us outside of ourselves in the pursuit to them, to where we become desperate. These artists become desperate. Why do I say they become desperate? Because a lot of times you'll hear these artists before they start making certain types of music, and they had a whole nother sound. Sometimes they appeared to have way more talent beforehand, and the industry kind of watered them down and changed their whole trajectory so that they could hit a target audience. And then you wonder why these dudes walk around here, high as hell all the time and shit like that, because hell, after they offer you those contracts, then it's like they take you downstairs to that room. or one of those rooms and you see some shit that you only heard about on damn conspiracy channels and you only rumored of, like, it was, listen, we saw the pictures of ASAP Rocky holding the big ass book standing inside of the pentagram and all of his friends standing around the pentagram and the candles lit. So it's not something far-fetched. We've seen photos of like other famous celebrities doing similar and other rituals. So with that being said, what do we really know about selling our souls? See, it takes on a whole it takes on a whole form of something deeper. It's desperation. People will say, "Oh, well, it's passion." No, passion is to keep striving for something and to keep having that desire, that drive, that push, that that love for doing what you do, and you do it almost autonomously, and you do it just like, I mean, with the same type of energy or better each time. That's passion. When you start talking about somebody getting desperate, that's when you start doing whatever. You'll change up what you're doing to fit somebody else's criteria. You'll hurt other people to put yourself in position. It's wild out here, but I know I started talking about Tupac in the beginning and everything, and this whole Keefe D situation. I just think Keefe D he's the fall guy. He's the fall guy for a bigger situation, because while we have Keefe D locked about to, go to trial for this situation, Puff is lawyering up. What did he get in his attorneys for? Shout out to Choke No Joke. Choke broke all that down. See, because a lot of these people's hands were like involved in this shit years ago, and you took monies, you took power, you accepted, I should say, to go along with whatever it is that they had set up, whether it was a scripted movie scene or an actual murder. It's the fact that you benefited from it, and this is what happens when you take oaths. When you take oaths and you pledge into things, fraternities, sororities, societies, clubs, groups, anything that you have to have a hazing rites of passage is probably something that you don't want to be involved in. Because the whole point in hazing someone that wants to be down with you is to try to break them. It's to see how desperate they are to be down with you. That's what it all basically break down to. So you mean to tell me y'all niggas gonna pass eggs in your mouth and do all this other nasty shit in order to say, oh, this person is my brother, my sister, like, you know what I'm saying, soror, my frat brother, all this and all that, and to get little benefits of like jobs if you happen to go. Look, man, how come nobody see that all that shit is extortion? Hazing is simply a damn humiliation ritual, and it could be used later as like extortion for real. We don't know what goes on for real when the doors are closed. We only know so much. Ain't no telling what else they make people do to join some of these situations. So Hell, we saw Kanye when his personal trainer, same one Lizzo has, and the same one, I forget who the actress is. But when Kanye revealed those text messages where the personal trainer said, listen, basically told him either he shut the hell up or he was gonna send him back to La La Land. He put him on so much of this drug that he wouldn't even know who his children were. This man made this threat in a text. This was during the time Kanye was spilling all kind of information. Kanye was going hard. Kanye was just dropping all type of bombs everywhere. After that text message, Kanye disappeared for a little minute. Next thing we know, we're seeing him with his new wife. He looks bigger. He looks bigger. I don't know who the hell is calling from, where they're calling from. But Kanye looks like a whole nother person. And this goes into, I don't want to say cloning. I'll say this is where the whole prosthetic mask, as well as the doppelganger theory, comes into play. And when I say the doppelganger theory, I'll say this, that we all have several people walking around that look similar enough to us that somebody would have to do a double take. Who knows us? You could take these people, a little bit of plastic surgery or prosthetics, and they could become a perfect and almost perfect replica of the person that of the celebrity, entertainer, basketball player, football player, actor, actress, news media personality, whomever. This is done quite often. It's not like this is something far-fetched I'm just coming up with. No, this is something that's done quite often. I always talk about Miss Jonah Mendez, former CIA chief of disguise for almost 27 years. The technology she was able to show, it looks like Hollywood magic. But she said what she was able to show doesn't even scratch the surface of the real deal technology. She can't show just how advanced they are up to this date, because that's a threat to national security. But she was able to show prosthetic masking, body suits, hair, eyes, plumpers, all type of shit that changes a person's appearance drastically. Like I said, here in the city of Cincinnati, we had a white guy rob several banks wearing a mask as a black guy. They was looking for a nigga for a while until somebody figured it out. Now, just as they figured that out, why is it so far-fetched that people like myself and others can see through some of the bullshit and start figuring some of this shit out? But I ain't gonna go on too much longer, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna stop here. This your man Honorable October 9. It's the Art of Thinking Out Loud Live Common Sense Analytics. Just wanted to talk about this little Keefe D Tupac situation, and I kind of went into big and the death fakers and shit like that, because all of this stuff goes together. Really, it does. I just think this whole Tupac thing is a money grab. It's been an almost 3-decade money grab, and it was time to pay the piper. But